What is up, Chatbots and digital marketing podcast listeners? This is Karl Schickert, and I'm back with another great interview with legend marketer Matt Bacak. And Matt Bacak has literally built a following of over 1.2 million people. He's a best-selling author. He's also a coach and a mentor to many top online marketers who a lot of people don't even know they're probably being coached by Matt. Matt is a high level, high frequency marketer, probably one of the best, if not the best, email marketers. And on top of that, he is one of the top copywriters as well. He's been around since like 1987. We joke about that on today's call. I'm very excited to get into it, so I'm going to not spend too much time going into it. Let's go ahead and take over into the interview now. What is up, Chatbots and digital marketing podcast listeners? This is Karl Schickert back with another fantastic interview with a list building behemoth. He's been around for years, since the early days of the internet, and he teaches primarily email marketing, but also copywriting as well. His name is Matt Bacak, and Matt Bacak has been around for many years in the online space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start the interview now. So Matt, how's it going?
Very good. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. So Matt, tell us a little bit about your background, about how did you get started in the online space, and what were some of the things that happened in maybe in your life or business life that made you go into this full time when you started early?
That's a good question. So, I mean, I'm just thinking, like, I actually did this before when I was in my dorm room. So I started marketing online in 1997. So I started marketing online in 1997. I started email marketing in 1999. At the beginning, I will tell you, things are a lot different, well, way different than they are today. But it really took me forever of pretty much banging my head on the wall. I felt like I banged my head on the wall a lot. Pretty much spending a lot of money, practically spending a lot of money until one day I figured out what the biggest problem was, because I had all these products. I was actually selling, most people don't know this about me. So when I first started, I was selling cassettes, DVD, VHS tapes, so cassette tapes, VHS tapes, or whatever, video tapes, cassettes, all this. I mean, I wasn't selling records but I will say this, for some people it was crazy because that's what I was selling. So I had a whole closet full of stuff that I was selling online, and I realized something, and something happened to me because I was like, this really sucks. I got this big old closet full. I didn't have a house at the time. I had a condo. And I was like, this is just ridiculous. I've got a whole closet full of stuff. I have nobody to sell to. I was banging my head on the wall. And then one day, that's what kind of happened back in 99. I was like, if I built a big list of people, if I got a big group of people that were hot and hungry for stuff, I could sell them whatever I want. And that actually was a big turning point in my life, in realizing, I actually, it was a billionaire that told me this, that I ran into, gosh, I was in my early 20s. He said, if you want to make a decent income, you sell products and services. But if you want to become insanely rich, then you create and control markets. And that's when I kind of just like, I need to build an email list. Like, emails was hot. It was like, how chatbots are hot now. Email was hot. Like, it was like, this is like the manna coming from the world. And that was kind of the big thing for me, was that moment, realizing, hey, I've got to control markets. I've got to control things. I've got to be able to, distribute stuff anytime that I want to.
Awesome. So a lot of really good nuggets right there, right off the bat. So controlling a market, owning your list is controlling a market, essentially. Once you have a size list, you kind of own that traffic in a sense. And that was the early days that's like very early days of email marketing. I think there was no large corporations that were catching on to this. They were spending probably billions of dollars of ad revenue on commercials based off demographics. Newspaper articles, magazines were really big. The internet was such a baby then, as far as on a commercial level. What were you using back then? AOL and Juno, or
Net Zero, AOL, Net Zero. I'm trying to think what else it was. ICQ, like you were talking about how you got started using Facebook to communicate back and forth. Well, we were using the thing called ICQ to communicate back and forth with JV partners. which was messaging, which is interesting enough. But yeah, so it is. I mean, I don't know. I was just thinking that, like, nobody's really brought me back to the past, like this moment in time. Some things I do forget, but now things are starting to pop up, so that's cool.
Well, I think that those days are back. So, I mean, with
Yeah.
they're back. I think with the Messenger bot platform, it's really leveled the playing field quite a bit for a lot of people that are kind of been searching for, kind of an alternative for email. Email is still going to always be great and always be there, but it's just not as effective as it was like back then. I mean, what were the open
I
rates
think,
that?
I mean, look, I know we're in different things, but I'll say, I think, people can play as much as they want, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's really important for people to understand if you're not on the cutting edge and you don't know what's going on, like, yeah, I mean, I can see people saying that, but and it just realized, like, when it all comes down to it, if you know what's going on and you're on there, if you got the upper hand in the game, you're still doing really well, and you always will do fairly well. And the same thing, like, because a crappy chat bot person is going to be as good as a crappy email person. But when you're on the top and know what's going on, you're doing a lot of testing like I am, and that's one difference. Most people don't test, and a lot of people are sucking because they suck. That's really why they're sucking. So when it all comes down to it, I mean, I just want to. I've got to defend my stance on it because
Yeah,
everybody says email marketing's dead, and it's not. I think people are just freaking idiots. Even Facebook is actually considered one of the biggest spammers. Actually, they're in the number 3 biggest spam, quote unquote, spammers in email, which is funny.
they live at one hacker away. So.
Yeah, no, but here's a big point that popped up when you were saying this is this. It doesn't matter what it really, and just to be clear, just so everybody knows, I don't care what medium it is. I don't care what market, what medium, what channel we're talking about. When it comes down to marketing, everything comes down to the same things. I mean, we've got to get a message out there. We got to get it to the right people. I mean, we got to get traffic. There's things that everything is, we've got to get people's attention. And there's, it's just really think about it. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if you can master one and realize, and it's kind of the same thing. I don't know. Did you play sports?
Yes.
So, we both know that. Then we both know. I mean, and anybody else that played sports, know this more than the average person is. Like, look, whenever we're kind of losing the game, what do we do? Go back to the fundamentals. And it doesn't matter what game we're playing. The fundamentals are the key of everything. So if we get to the fundamentals, we're going to win. And when, like, you kept on mentioning copywriting, it's interesting because it's fundamental key for everything that we're doing. If you can't write copy to get people's attention, we got 6 seconds, no matter what we're doing, to really capture somebody's attention. And if we don't, then we're kind of screwed. So capturing people's attention. I mean, attention is the real asset of the market. It doesn't matter what channel it is. We've got to get people's attention, and anything we can do to get people's attention is going to be key, because that is the true where the money really is in attention. And some people have got attention different places.
Absolutely. And actually, I'm glad that's why I'm having you here, so you can defend the email marketing spectrum of this whole thing. And we use it all the time, guys. There's a lot of I mean, high percentage of you guys got an email from us about just coming onto this call. For those who get to join us live, and for those listeners, then you guys probably get a lot of emails and bots sent to you as well on when those go live. So. They're both incredibly effective. The thing is just that it's multi-touch point marketing nowadays. There's some people
really,
one thing over the other.
No, that's what I was going to say is, the most powerful thing you can do is you take one amazing medium, take it with another amazing medium, and you're going to turn it into like this huge, amazing thing. And I think that's really important. And it doesn't matter. Anybody that utilizes multi-channel marketing is really going to be the king of it all. Because some people, react one way, and it really depends upon your target market too. I mean, and realize that I think for everybody listening is you got if you understand, I call it the perfect customer. Some people call it the avatar, but everybody's a little bit different. Like, the older crowd is now on Facebook. I mean, you talk to the younger generation, and they're going to be sitting there like, I don't use Facebook. That's for old people. It's crazy. Like my kids say that. They're on Instagram, or they're doing whatever the hell they're doing now. When I say kids, I've got a couple of way different generations. But I say it is, you just got to understand, once you understand your avatar and where they are, because that's the big key, is find out where people are. You got to find out where people are hanging out, and if your target market's there, then it's the best thing to do. use whatever mechanism or channel that will allow you to get to those specific individuals.
Awesome. Awesome. So I want to kind of take this on to like the next part of this interview. I think there was some great stuff we talked about there. Obviously, knowing your avatar or your I like what you said, perfect customer, defining your perfect customer. That is really well said. This next part, and this is digging deep sometimes because I think that everybody has their own journey and they struggle somewhere. Maybe you had really good success at first. Sounds like you kind of struggled a little bit for a year or two with cassette tapes in the closet. But you've been so good at content marketing, like one of the best content marketers out there, writing books and stuff like that. But what about some hard times in life that happen in business? You don't know what you don't know. So,
no, let me just tell you. So, I mean, just to let you guys know that I forgot about this. Look, I don't talk about this, and it was probably a shame I'm saying this here at this house because honestly, remember I'm sitting at my dad's desk for the first. My dad never had a desk in a house. This is a new house, but I remember my dad was really upset with me. When I was my younger times when I filed for bankruptcy. When I had the closet full of stuff and I was going under really quick. And I did, and I actually did that whether it was right or wrong. I did it. I mean, that was a long time ago, over 20 years ago. I brought shame on the family name. That's how it was kind of brought to me. There was that time. Interesting enough, I will say, is that whole era is kind of telling you that shift I made. Literally, I say that because I was just thinking, because my wife picked me up off the bankruptcy court steps, and 6 months later, I made my first million. So, I mean, it was kind of crazy from bankruptcy court steps to $1 million in 6 months, which is interesting, off a list of 10,000 people. It's crazy. I mean, just to think about that. That was probably my first recycle. I kind of like calling them recycling. I don't think any human being or not human being, any entrepreneur that's never kind of recycled once, I don't know if they don't know what they don't know. And there's things that we know, and things that we don't know, there's things we don't know. And sometimes we get sucker punched. Like later on, I was, we go from there to bankruptcy courts to millions, and then from millions to taking my company from there all the way up to over $20 million, and then having nice little IRS coming in and taking all that stuff away from me, and then I have to go build it all back up again. So I'm just gonna, it's like, it's a recycling, and but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And under pressure, diamonds are created. So I will say that I've been under a lot of pressure before, and I was able to do it all over again. Because the one thing I learned in any of those situations was, and I remember saying this the second time. The first time I didn't know what I knew at the time, but I remember the second time I got everything taken away from me. And this time wasn't by choice. First time was by choice. The second time wasn't by choice. That I will say, that moment, I realized that, take whatever you want, because I can be back and building it again. And interesting enough, I never thought of this. 6 months later, I made another $1 million, taking everything away, starting all over, because I had to at that time. I mean, especially when you're running a $20 million, you're living a life about, when you're making $20 million a year and living that lifestyle and having nothing. You've got to make it happen really quick or really go under fast. And I didn't do it. So interesting enough, I mean, I don't usually talk about this. It's funny, you just pulled some stuff out of me. I don't even like talking about. I don't even want to remember. But there was moments in time that I couldn't even afford a freaking taco.
Yeah. So what do you think the big? I mean, I guess it's kind of like experience. At that point, you've gained knowledge and experience. So when the IRS came and was like, "I'm taking your stuff," you're like, "Take it all," because I know I can rebuild this. Like I guess that maybe the confidence changed from the first time to the second time. And was it pressure that brought you back, or was it just the knowledge you knew you could just start applying?
Well, actually, the interesting thing, I'll tell you, this is actually interesting. It took me a little bit. It took me a second. I said, you know what? I'm going to do everything I tell everybody to do. And I always used to say, look, if I had to start all over again, what would I do? I'd go build I'd put up an opt-in page. I'd drive traffic to the opt-in page. I'd build a list. and I start making money. And that's exactly what I did. And I really did. I built that list up to 1.2 million people, subscribers, and started freaking crushing it. And really, I mean, I was, just crushing it. Sitting on my butt. I mean, I didn't, it's crazy because I went from having a $250,000 a month payroll to, or more than that sometimes, payroll to, having nothing. It was just me. I actually, and like I said, under pressure, diamonds are created. That's one thing. But the other thing is, I realized, holy shit, crap, I actually became really good at split testing at that moment. That I will tell you, when you have been at the top and then you got taken down to the bottom really quickly, after you've been there, I realized that I'm like, how can I squeeze a lot of money out of this traffic? Because I didn't have money, but I needed to get there as fast as I could, and that's when I became good at split testing. I mean, I've done over 8,000 email split test rounds since that moment, and that's just on emails. That doesn't include, websites. I mean, I test the hell out of everything, and the reason is because at that moment, because before the person I was before that moment that we were talking about, the second time, the person I was before that, I believed, oh, well, I am Matt Bacak and my stuff just works, and that's why it works, because it's me. After the next time, I was like, whoa. I mean, it was like, if I just make small little tweaks, small little changes, I'm going to make more money. In fact, I'm going to make a lot more money, because the difference between a 20% conversion rate and a 60% conversion rate is a lot of money. And no matter what it is, whether it's an opt-in page, whether it's a squeeze page, I mean, I'm able to, cut down my expenses a lot quicker and make a crap ton more money. And that's when I realized too, outside of the testing side of things, also realizing the copy side of things. I mean, I've got to get good, and you got to just get good and not believe that, because anybody, and this is the big thing for people to realize. Look, the crappier you don't have to be that good of a marketer if you have stronger relationships with the people, the following, whatever following you have. You don't need to be that good of a marketer. You really don't. Now, the colder the relationship, the better marketer you need to be. And that's an important thing to actually realize. And I say that because I made a shift. And when I made that one shift, I went into a market as cold. Nobody knew who that guy was. So I had to realize, like, oh, I had to get good. And I had to get good fast. I mean, I was good, but you can only rely on so much. And the more educated you become, and the better you are, more things happen.
Awesome. So yeah, a lot of good stuff there. I don't even think I could say it all. And it actually kind of helps me too, because knowing your cold market, your message to your cold market, knowing your warm market, your message to your warm market, and even hot markets, probably even less. You don't have to say much. You're just like, go do this, and they listen because they know it works. They believe you. They trust you. Cool. So what I want to do is ask you another question, and we'll go ahead and wrap up the Chatbots and Digital Marketing podcast. I try to keep these up, under 30 minutes at the most. Last question is, and you've given me over the years, I mean, tremendous advice, like tremendous advice. But I want to know, what was the best piece of advice you have ever been given that you've applied to your life, business, personal life, whatever? It's like absolutely best piece of advice.
In what aspect?
Well, I mean, everybody here wants to make more money, but I mean, maybe it's something that's helped you in some life decisions. Maybe it's something that's, helped you with business.
I'm going to give you guys a couple of things in different areas. So I sit in on different things. Let me just tell you this. So from just a whole life thing, family and everything else, I think one of when you met me, I was in, people called it the mansion. I didn't see it as that. Now I actually do. So, like, perception's really different. But I say that is the real one of the things that people don't realize is the big reason for the big move is, and we read a book. It was called, The Joy of whatever. Like, it's about cleaning. Anyway, but we started asking ourselves a question about everything in our life: is what brings us joy? And I will say that, once I heard that, I was like, hey, does this bring me joy? I started questioning everything. Does this bring me joy? Does this bring me joy? And I realized all the material stuff that we had in our life at that moment didn't bring me joy. It brought joy. It brought me joy to tell other people about it, but it didn't bring me joy to myself. And so I had got all that material stuff for the wrong reason. what really brings me joy is being able to spend more time with my family, building my business and building my life around that one decision so that I can be closer with them, be able to see, be able to take them on journeys and have fun. And now we're actually having this game where with the family is we actually go on these journeys. We go to different states and our goal is to hit every single, we started this in November, just to say. So since November, we've been to like half of the United States, literally every state. We have to have an experience in every state. Like we went dog sledding in New Hampshire. I mean, we've, like I'm saying, real experiences. So we have to have these cool experiences in every single state. And that's, that brings me joy, having fun with my family and letting, being time with that and building my business so that that can be. And that wasn't what it was like before. And that's a big thing. The other thing I'll tell you from a wealth perspective, realize this. I think this is one of my big mentors. He was a billionaire, and I used to fly out to Switzerland to be with him. And he said something to me interesting. He said, "Your highest risk investment is going to be your business." Realize that. And so I don't invest. I personally don't invest in anything. I invest in my business all the time. It's a high risk thing. I don't play. I do have a financial planner that handles all my stuff for me. I hand that off to them. I don't want to be thinking day to day, looking at the market, playing with any of that stuff. In fact, what I actually do is invest in trees, and that's another reason why I moved to where I moved, is because I'm not too far from my farm. My tree farm actually, because I have a lot of land. And I say a lot is a lot for most people, many people, a lot of land. And the purpose behind that is because my investment is actually in not really the land, but in the trees. And from there. So it's important. I understand how they work. I don't think about them. It only takes me 10 minutes a year to actually look at many of my investments. So that's an important thing. And I think the third thing I want to say, so I told you I was going to tell you three, and I say the third thing, and we'll finish on this, and in fact, I was repeating this to my father a little while ago. When you have something that's absolutely amazing, when you have something I've got this course, anyway, I got this one course, and people send me like love letters. People, and I don't request it. I don't ask anybody to do anything. People are like, this is the greatest course I ever took. This is, I put half my life experience inside this one course, and I do every day. I get one. I show my dad. I was like, this guy just made $4,000 from this one thing. Another person, was like, and I was just showing my dad, and I said, that's why I sell so hard, because if I don't let people know more about it, if I don't, I'm stealing from the lives of others. And my dad just looked at me. He's like, what? I said, no. I said, look at this. Because if I don't tell more people about this, I'm taking from other people's lives, because they can go buy from something, get something from somebody else that's going to be far less superior than what I've got. And I said, when you got something like that, and I'm saying that to everybody, and this is what I was told a long time ago, when you have something that can truly change people's lives, can truly make things happen, is better than the stuff on the market. It is your job. It's your duty. It's your responsibility. It's your right. And it's your responsibility to go out there and to let more people know about it. And using chatbots, using email, doing, whatever it is. I don't care what it is. Direct mail, it doesn't matter. Direct mail works too, still to this day. Whatever it is, as long as you're doing it legally and ethically, you can do whatever it takes to get it in people's hands, because it will not just change your life, change their life, but also change your life too. So I'm just saying that because I think we do have a moral obligation when it comes down to it, and especially when we got something good, to go out there and become a better marketer, and in whatever areas we need to be.
Love that. So let me just reiterate those. So first one is joy. So everything you do, ask that question, which does this bring joy to my life? Maybe not short-term, joy, long-term joy. I think that was good. So what are the things, diagnosing, what are the things that I love to do? I love to travel with my family, and I love doing my business. If that's something you love doing, then you integrate the two, in a joyful way. So I really like that. Kind of makes me think about the Dalai Lama, because he teaches the same kind of methods about joy. And then also your business is your highest risk, which is very interesting because it's an investment. Your business is always an investment. I know personally, we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in investing into our software. So it's a heavily invested, not only that, but our own blood, sweat, and tears. So it is really, you're absolutely right with that. And it's something we should probably look at more. And then the last thing, which was where your purpose kind of meets your business. And, when you start changing other people's lives, that it's your obligation to go out there. It's your purpose. It's your obligation, though, to show people, to tell people about what you're doing. And this is why Matt, why he pushes what he does so hard, because he knows that it's changing people's lives, and that's improving the quality of that people live while we're here on this earth. And while we have this short little speck of time that we have here, why not try to enjoy it? So, Matt, thank you so much for coming online and doing this podcast with us. I really, really appreciate it. This is such a good one. I know a lot of people are going to get tons of value out of it. I'm also going to go back to myself here, where you guys will know where to find the show notes, where to find Matt, and also hear from our sponsors. And we'll go ahead and sign off now. Thanks for coming. All right, Chatbots and digital marketing podcast listeners, I really hope you got a lot out of this call. I'm sure that you did. Matt really just brought the heat, brought down the house. We really talked about what he does. He is literally one of the number one copywriters, he's probably the top email marketer in the world because of all the split testing that he does. And also he mentors a lot of marketers. In fact, like I said, I've been to his masterminds, and it's the top of the top who go to these events. So I do want to also mention that our sponsor for the show is segmateapp.com. You can go to segmateapp.com for a 14-day free trial. It is a messenger marketing and bot building platform that'll help you do it on your own, build your own bots, and crush your own competition with something that's highly effective utilizing chatbot marketing. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end this call at that note. We'll see you guys very soon on the next one. This is Karl Schickert. Talk soon.